Hello, and welcome to The Other Side of the Bell, a podcast dedicated to everything trumpet, brought to you by Bob Reeves Brass. We'll help you take your trumpet playing to the next level. I'm John Snell, trumpet specialist here at Bob Reeves Brass, and I'll be your host for this episode. Joining me today is trumpeter and founder of Mariachi Sol de México, José Hernández. We'll get to José's interview here in a moment from our sponsor and some trumpet news. I'd like to welcome our newest sponsor to the other side of the bell, the Colburn School's Summer Brass Institute. Intermediate and advanced brass students aged 13 to 22 are invited to join the Colburn School's 2-week Brass Institute this summer for an immersive experience of the best the brass world has to offer. Led by some of today's most active and respected brass artists, the program features large brass ensemble, chamber music, rhythm workshops, and masterclasses. Taking place from July 7th to the 18th in downtown Los Angeles, visit colburnschool.edu/summer to apply. And just on a personal note, my son, who's a young budding trumpet player, took part in the Colburn School Summer Brass Institute last summer and had an amazing time. I also have some friends and colleagues who've had their either children or their private students take part, and it really is a world-class brass faculty. Very enriching and fun summer experience. So if you know someone age 13 to 22, have them apply. Again, that link is colburnschool.edu/summer. And we'll have the links down in the show notes of this episode. And a huge thank you to the Colburn School for sponsoring this podcast. Happy February, everybody. 1 month of 2026 has already gone by. Just ran into a bunch of you at the NAMM show recently. We weren't exhibiting, but we were there helping out the guard bag booth. If you can see behind me, if you're watching this on YouTube, we are overflowing with guard bags, which means if you're interested in, we do have some one-offs that we picked up from that trade show, including the sought-after fiberglass hard shell cases. I think we have a couple doubles and a couple triples for trumpet, as well as some cool triple trumpet in some leather and nylon styles that we don't normally carry. A couple crocodile, a couple different colors. So if you're interested in those, give us a call or send us an email. And if we have them left, you are certainly welcome to purchase them. And a huge thank you to Abhi and Pooja and all the folks at Guard Bags for having a wonderful booth. And again, a lot of cases already found homes from the show floor, but we did have a few left that we brought back to the shop. Another shout out, listener Bob Secoy came through town. Bob used to be a professional player in the Vegas area. You know, like many of us, took some years off to raise family and have a career, and came back. Unfortunately, during his comeback, this is a really heartwarming story, he was diagnosed with focal dystonia and did some Googling and came across this podcast, and specifically the episodes with Greg Spence and the focal dystonia episode with Greg and Julie Baxis. That started a connection with those two individuals. He's been taking lessons with both Greg and Julie, as well as doing other things. And as he was here in the shop to check out some Ulven mutes, and I can say he's well along his road to recovery. He was sounding great up here in the front room, and really meant a lot to know that we were able to start making those connections thanks to this podcast. And we had, you mentioned, a few other listeners come by the booth at NAMM when I was hanging out with the Guard folks. And also was really honored to have the good folks at Greg Black Mouthpieces visit us. If you see on our social media, Greg Black and Ben Strickland from that company spent the day here at the shop. They were out here for the NAMM show, and we had a lot of fun going through our archive, Bob's old tools, some of the fun mouthpieces and instruments we have in our collection, some Maynard Ferguson stuff, some Bud Brisbois mouthpiece, some old John Kleinman mouthpieces. And it was just a great time with those folks as well. As I mentioned last time, we do have a lot of travel coming up. TMEA will be next up. That's the Texas Music Educators Association Convention, February 11th to 14th in San Antonio, Texas. We do have the valve alignment link up if you're interested in getting one. click on the links in the show notes or in the description, or head over to trumpetmouthpiece.com. That's our online store. And if you search for TMEA, it should show up. We sell out every year. Don't be that person that shows up on Friday night or Saturday morning and wants an alignment. And I'm out of time because I hate saying no, but I do have a flight to catch. Again, the dates for that, February 11th to the 14th. 2 weeks later, we will be going to our good friends in Woodbridge, New Jersey at Dylan Music. We will be doing valve alignments there, and those we'll be doing by appointment as well through Dylan Music. So contact Dylan, dylanmusic.com for their email and phone number. Jim is probably the guy to talk to there. He's always running around busy, so if he's not, you can talk to anyone there and set up your appointment for valve alignments at Dylan Music, February 26th through 28th. And of course, we don't just do valve alignments. We'll have the 300 and so forth trumpet mouthpieces. We'll have a good selection of Ulvain mutes, Charlie Davis mutes. We'll have some Charlie Davis horns as well at Dylan Music, and some other fun stuff. Never too early to plan. We will be at the National Trumpet Competition. That's in Iowa City, Iowa, March 20th to the 22nd. The alignment link for that is on our website. We'll have the link below, and also at trumpetmouthpiece.com if you search for National Trumpet Competition, or NTC if you don't want to type that much. Looking forward to going to Iowa, our first time there, and it's always a great event. The hosts always have great competition, great judges, great master classes, and the vendor room is always a lot of fun madness. Valve alignments, mouthpieces, we'll have some Shires trumpets, we'll have Charlie Davis trumpets, we'll have guard bags there. Everything you could possibly need. Next on the list, Metropolitan Music. In fact, I just spent a few days with Paul and Jean McVicker from that store in Seattle, Washington, and we will have a sign-up link for that shortly, hopefully in the notes for this one. The dates for that, April 10th and 11th. I believe that's a Friday and Saturday. Same thing, alignments, mouthpieces, lots of fun, and hanging out at a wonderful music store, and our first time in Seattle, so that's going to be great. And the last one on the calendar is the Arkansas Trumpet Day at Arkansas State University in Jonesboro. The date for that is April 18th. We don't have a sign-up link for alignments for that quite yet, but stay tuned, one of the future episodes. So a lot of travel, a lot going on here. If you're interested, speaking of Ulvain mutes, we're just getting a shipment in of Ulvain cup mutes for trumpet. We've been out of stock for a few months, or a month or so, on some of the models. So we're getting some of the Dizzy cups, and I think some of the copper cups, very popular, in their line. Obviously, the Dizzy cup is the quintessential bebop cup mute sound, and the copper cup, Håkan Hardenberger uses and has recorded with for a lot of his career. So great, dark, rich cup sound in those two options. So check the website, because once they're in stock, they don't last very long. That's all I have for today. I'm really excited about today's guest, José Hernández. We'll get right to his interview. Today's special guest is José Hernández, an internationally renowned mariachi musician, composer, educator, and cultural ambassador. He's the founder and musical force behind Mariachi Sol de México, the trailblazing Mariachi Reyna de Los Ángeles, the Mariachi Heritage Society, and the Mariachi Rams, in partnership with the Los Angeles Rams. Born in Mexicali and raised in East Los Angeles, he spent a lifetime pushing mariachi forward without losing its roots. His music has been featured in over 20 Hollywood films. He's earned multiple Grammy and Latin Grammy Award nominations, and he's performed for 5 U.S. presidents, while also building a curriculum that's influenced mariachi education across the U.S. and abroad. And now, here's my interview with José Hernández. Well, it's such an honor to have joining me today, José Hernández. José, good morning. How you doing?
Very good, John. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I know. Well, one of these days we'll do this in person. But it's a great you're taking a break in your busy schedule to talk to us about trumpet and mariachi and who knows what else. Let's start right from the beginning. Did you start playing trumpet first, or did you start with one of the other instruments or singing? How did that come about?
I started playing trumpet in 4th grade. We were living in Mexicali, and me and 5 siblings were the last kids from our family that immigrated to LA, right? So I grew up hearing my 3 older brothers playing trumpet, and they were already playing professionally. So when I turned 10 and we were able to start in the band in school, I told my dad, I want to play a trumpet. Can you rent a trumpet for me? And he goes, why do you want to play trumpet? Well, I go, because Chencho, Pedro, and Antonio, they're playing trumpet. I want to play like them. And also my other older brother, Jesus. So yeah, I started at the age of 10 in fourth grade.
Wow. So you were, so are you the youngest of your siblings?
I'm the youngest of 8, yes.
Wow. And so you had 4 older brothers that were playing trumpet already. And you said professionally, already mariachi or?
The 3 oldest ones were already playing mariachi, and the 4th of the oldest brothers, Jesus, was about 4 grades above me. So he was in middle school when I started in 4th grade. He used to have the same band teacher, right?
So you saw them do it. You wanted to pick it up, and were your parents musical as well? Is that why all your siblings? Okay.
Definitely. My dad played mariachi. He was a violinist, and his father was a violinist, and his grandfather, great grandfather. So we go back 7 generations.
No.
Yeah.
7 generations of mariachi, and now your children are taking that on as well.
My daughter's playing violin. My daughter Crystal, and she's playing with the all-female group that I have, Mariachi Reyna. But yeah, it's I'm finishing up a book. Once this last year was my 50th anniversary as a musician, a mariachi musician. So yeah, I had some I would say ethnomusicologists or some historians go back and try to trace my family. Yeah, and it's really further than more than 7 generations, but arguably, we're the family that has kept mariachi as a tradition the longest, that they have documented.
Literally in your blood.
So I was always wondering, why are all my nieces and all my kids, they're all musical? Like they have very pretty voices and they pick up music very, very easy. But yeah, it goes back, and not only my father's side, but also my maternal side. My mother's father was also mariachi.
Amazing. So you're born into this family. You started playing in band. Were you learning trumpet from your band or from your brothers, or just absorbing from everywhere?
At home, I would always listen to the rehearsals that they had in their group, so I heard it all the time. Now, mariachi music wasn't really written out unless you were at the professional level and you're doing recording sessions, right, with all these famous singers in the '60s that they basically recorded they were in Mexico City when they did a lot of those recordings. But no, I mean, I learned from my band teacher, and the importance of education. I think I got that from my band teacher, who was a viola player, and he was very interested in what my father did. And I told him my father's a violin player. He goes, "Oh, really?" So mind you, these were the '60s. So in the '60s there was a lot of tension, racial tension. And when he made it okay to have my picture, my father's pictures group in his office, it was pretty cool, right? Because all the band members from the school were saying, "Oh, is that your dad?" I go, "Yeah, it's my dad." He plays at the San Antonio racetrack, the mariachi they used to play on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. My band teacher made it okay. He was like half Jewish and half Russian or something like that. A Russian Jew, and he was just an amazing musician.
So so that's where you got your start. I mean, how was the trumpet for you? Was it something you kind of picked up naturally, or?
I picked it up pretty naturally. For some reason, we would memorize very, very, very easy. I remember, I think at 4 months of playing, I learned how to circular breathe.
Because 4 months?
Yeah. At 4 months, my older brothers used to do it. Then my brother Jesus, who was in middle school, he learned how to do it, and he taught me how to do it. And our teacher would say, "Okay, let's see who holds the longest note, for the trumpet players to build up, the consistency of our sound." So I knew how to circular breathe. So I'd always make sure that I would finish maybe 2-3 seconds longer from the guy behind. So he would give us these big old Snickers or Babe Ruths, all these candies for the winner. And he goes, How come you're always the one winning, Jose? And how come you always like you're memorizing your music, faster than everybody else? Yeah. I go, "Well, my brother, he goes, Jesus is your brother." He goes, "Yeah, he does the same thing, in middle school." Right? I go, "Well, our dad's a musician." That's when he found that. Yeah, right. That was somebody actually
found that connection.
Ear, it's just we were born, I guess, with a very natural ear for music,
Yeah. So when you picked up the trumpet, did you start playing with the family at home, or?
No, it was band.
It was only band.
So in the '60s, we got exposed. There were band arrangements of a lot of the Herb Alpert music and other pop songs that were popular, at that time on radio. So we had a really good band teacher. You know, it was like it was a band, wind ensemble, no strings, and then middle school wind ensemble. I went through
Yeah.
high school, you know, playing they were always wind ensembles.
So you had that background. At what point did you start playing? Did you ever start playing with your brothers, doing professional
Yes,
stuff?
I started, I think at the age of 16, in 1975. My brother had the gig in Disneyland, so he used to play in Frontierland with his mariachi.
Hmm.
He started playing there in 1967, but also like in 1974, I think, or 75. I went and I took my trumpet just to get in for free with the musicians, right? So I went, and one of the violinists didn't show up, and my brother goes, "Hey, you know, the supervisor's coming today. Put on the suit." This was during one of the summer year.
Hmm.
So I put on the suit, and I had heard the music, but I didn't know any of the songs, right? I hadn't memorized them. But he goes, "Don't worry, it's only 10 songs that the gringos like to hear, you know, La Cucaracha and Cielito Lindo." He goes, "That's all you have to learn." He goes, "Why don't you stay and just gig for the rest of the summer?"
Yeah.
And I'm like 16 or something like that, 16 and a half. And I did like that. There was no problem at that time, you know.
So had you not played any mariachi before
No,
that? It
but
was
I heard it all my life.
you
So
heard it all. Yeah.
learning the songs, the style to play it was never a problem. The
Hmm.
articulations, I would sing the articulations. That's the way we would learn
Hmm.
the language of mariachi, right? Their articulations was our language. So I would always hear play like we knew we would sing the articulation. So when we learned the notes, we already played the style, and the vibrato came very natural. You know, the job vibrato.
Yeah. Wow. So it was 16 when you first started playing mariachi, and it was
Yes,
in
in
Disneyland
Disneyland for 3 months.
on
Yeah,
the spot.
on the spot. And then that everybody started sort of talking about me. They go, "Man, did you hear this young guy? He's only been playing a couple of months." And they all knew my brothers, right? Because my brothers were like the most popular mariachi in the world, right?
Hmm.
And so then they called me to gig at you know, the El Torito restaurants, right?
Oh, of course.
Well,
Yeah.
these were the original ones from with the original owner. Which one was in I think was in Westminster, right in
Hmm.
Orange County, and then another one was in Newport Beach, and he had some other ones called La Fiesta, other restaurants. So we played 4 nights or 5 nights. They called me to play with a small group, an 8-piece group, and by that time, my older brother was in middle school. Obviously, he was in college. He would play in the evenings, but he picked up guitar. You know, people started talking, "Oh, you should hear him play. You should hear him play. You should hear him." And I think it was right after high school when I joined my older brother's group and with my father and my other brothers.
The family band.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you ever take private lessons, like trumpet lessons, or was?
When I went from high school, from playing in the stage band, you know, the jazz band, and I think I stopped marching. Yeah, in marching band in high school. I only marched for a little bit, but in the concert band, and then from there going to play mariachi 6 nights a week because my family bought a restaurant in the city of Montebello.
Mhm.
My lip was like in shock. It was weird because now I was always articulating a certain way. It was always more aggressive, the staccatos and all that, you know, with playing with mariachi. And out of the 6 nights, I would feel good 3 nights. And the other 3 nights, I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to feel." So, you know, it becomes like a mental kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
And somebody told me about a teacher that lived in Glendora that used to play with the San Diego Symphony. His name was Dave Evans.
Hmm.
I think it was Dave Evans. Huh? Yeah, Dave Evans.
Yeah.
He goes, "You should go, you know, and study with him." So I went for about 2 or 3 months, and he introduced me. Everything I never really studied the trumpet. It's like I learned the songs, you know, I learned how to read, but I never started studying like a technique. It always came very natural to me. So he introduced me to lip flexibility
Oh,
exercises and stuff
like
like that.
Jimmy Stamp or
No, it was
no?
Clark Technical Studies.
Oh, the Clarks. Yeah.
Yeah, technical studies. So we did a lot of those, and obviously he gave me some exercises from Arbenz, you know. But I knew Arbenz because I learned how to read music, played the duets with my older brother. The last part of the page of the book, we would play those duets. But yeah, he introduced me to those exercises, and I remember beginning to feel better. But he goes, "No, no, don't staccato like that. It's too aggressive." So he was turning me into a classical trumpet player.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, I was playing that. He goes, "Alan, you really articulate very well. Here, why don't we work on this?" But then I'd go play with my family and my older brothers who were really good trumpet players, mariachi trumpet players. They go, what the hell is happening to you? Here I'm playing everything smoother, and
Smooth and delicate
yeah,
and light. Yeah.
I go, well, I'm going with the teacher, to get more technique. He goes, well, he's screwing you up. He goes, you got to stop going with it. You got to stop going with it. He goes, just listen, use your ear and just use common sense. And if you did learn something, just use whatever helped you. So yeah, I stuck with those Clark flexibility exercises that really helped me. And I developed my own little routine for maintenance. And all of a sudden it was like, okay, I know how the lip works. I know it's this, it's that. This creates sound. Clears up your sound. And ever since then, I never had a problem. Ever since I was the age of 19.
Jeez, a few months of study and learning the Clarks.
A few months of study.
Yeah. So what was the name of the group that your family was in? Your father and your brothers?
Mariachi Los Galleros. The Galleros, and my brother Antonio, he became very good friends with Bob. Since I remember going with Bob Reeves. Oh my gosh. Maybe I was in 9th grade or something like that. I was 14, right? So I was. Well, I'm talking about 50 years ago or something like that. He was right there on right there in Hollywood. It's close to Vine, right?
Right off of Melrose on
Melrose.
Ridgewood.
Yeah. We used to go there, and the guys from Mariachi Vargas that from Mexico, the trumpet players, because my brothers used to play there. They always used to ask, Tonio and I, hey, can you go check out some Bach trumpets? So we would go check out and test them, and then we would send them off to them, or they would come when they came on tour in LA. They would trust us to pick their trumpets out, right? And they would all go to Bob.
Yeah.
Bob was the guy making all those mouthpieces for the mariachis,
Yeah.
Because my brothers being the top players, they played Bob Reeves. So I did too. Yeah. That was my mouthpiece since I was a 9th grader or a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, Bob has a lot of great stories of you guys coming in and the guys from Vargas and he loved you guys and he loved going down to Cielito Lindo. He and Gloria would go down.
Yeah, before he used to go to El Rey, my brother's restaurant there at Cielito Lindo, which I bought in 1986. So yeah, it was always great, to see him. A lot of the top trumpet players would go. Malcolm McNabb used to go to Cielito Lindo all the time, and I met him at a recording session. It was him and Charlie Davis and me. And it was a mariachi. It was a mariachi session, and they had no clue. They go, "What did you play first, Jose?" So you go, "Give it." But they couldn't follow me. My vibrato and stuff like that. I go, "Look, why don't I write in the articulations, and you guys play your part, and I'll follow you guys." And that's the way we would record. I would follow them, but they had everything written out already.
They had to see the style. Yeah, they could read it, but they didn't have it in their head.
We became very good friends, Malcolm and myself. And then he would take all these principal trumpet players from all these orchestras that would come to his camp, because he lived in Altadena, or he still lives there.
Yeah, he's up there.
And he would come down right to South El Monte to my restaurant and bring, principal trumpet player of Baltimore Symphony, Hawaii Symphony, all these guys. And he would tell them, "Here, you got to hear these guys play." And then we had stuff like very, very much like the Mendes Trio, right? That we play. And music has been very good to me. I mean, it's been such a blessing. And
you and your brothers do features and things like that?
Yeah. By that time, by the time I had that Cielito Lindo in 1986, it was my brother Jesus, who was in middle school. He was a guitar player. He played in my group, and he was always, by my side for many years. He retired 5 years ago.
Amazing. So you're playing in your family's group. Did you decide to go off to school, or were you just working so much that you just...
Once we opened the restaurant, I was working 6 nights a week, and all my friends were going to college. And they asked me, "Hey, you're going to college? Where are you going?" And they go, "No, I'm working 6 nights a week at my family's place." So I had a steady job, making steady money as a musician. What else do you want, right? I had 18. And I just started thinking about it, and for some reason I got the urge to study, and they told me, there's a school in Studio City called the Grove, the Dick Grove School of Music. I go, "Really? Huh?" Oh, yeah. So I started brushing up on my music theory. Monday nights, I remember I used to go to a music class here in the city of Montebello, an adult music class, going over my triads, minor, majors, diminished, just stuff. And then I started driving up there like on a Thursday during the day and taking harmony classes with Dick Grove. And once I finished his 5 books of harmony, I started taking arranging 1 and arranging 2. By that time, I was already beginning to arrange for my brother's group and doing some local recordings with local singers and stuff like that. And then Dick tells me, he goes, hey, why don't you take the CAP class, the composing, arranging, and producing. I go, I don't think I can because I work too many nights at my brother's restaurant. So then I got enough, nerve to go talk to my brother. He go, hey, is there any way that I could just work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? No. I go, yeah, I want to go to school from Monday to Friday, and it's like from 9 or 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and it's 5 days a week, and it's like 49 hours a week of school, of music. He goes, no, what for? You're going to be a mariachi. What do you want to learn? I go, yeah, but I want to do things in a different way. I want to be able to arrange in a different way and have more capacity. In the future, we could do something with symphony orchestras. Because during those days, the mariachis here in LA didn't do none of that. In Mexico, I don't think they did that either, as far as going to play with symphony orchestras concerts. Mm-hmm. So it sort of forced me to leave my brother's group. And I was already arranging locally, making pretty good money. And I figured, okay, I'm just going to do that and go to school. And some guy that used to go hear us play, he says, you know what? I just bought a restaurant up in Whittier, in uptown Whittier. He goes, and I want a mariachi. You think you could put a mariachi together for me just for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? I go, perfect, So, yeah, I mean, my brothers and my father, they were so upset at my older brother that they all left his group. All of them, all 5 of them.
Jeez, a mutiny.
Yeah, it was tough on my older brother. But
yeah,
they were upset that he wouldn't let me go to school. Right.
Wow.
So once I put my group together, I started writing and then went to also the CAP program. It was difficult, but my group started making a name for itself because it sounded so different from all these other groups, right?
Yeah. So was that Mariachi Sol?
Mariachi Sol, yeah. And then Juan Gabriel heard one of our albums, and all of a sudden he asked me to arrange for him. And he would come to LA to record. And mind you, no important Mexican artists would come to LA to record. They all recorded in Mexico City. So we were sort of like one of the first ones that started backing up these great artists.
Wow. And when was that? That was at
this was in 1980. This was 1982 when I started working with him.
Early 80s.
I remember we only played at that restaurant for 1 year. And then I went back. Yeah, we all went back to my brother's restaurant. And my dad, I was just worried about my dad having that steady job and working with my brother. But my older brother had a hard time me doing my own recordings with the name of Sol de Mexico during the day, and taking my brother that played guitar. No, you can't take him. No, you can't. Yeah. So I had to leave the group again. And my brother Jesus, who played guitar, he goes, "Oh well, I'm going to get out too." So we ended up working in La Fonda. La Fonda that was over here in Worcester with Los Camperos. So we went and we helped Nati for about a year. Mind you, Nati, the owner of La Fonda, the leader of Los Camperos, used to play with my dad when he was young. He started with my dad,
So you had that connection.
We had that connection, So we played there for about a year. And then I ended up producing an album for my older brother who owned the restaurant. So I ended up going back with him for a few years. And, I was making very, very good money recording with a lot of artists. And I saved my money and I bought my own restaurant when I was 26 years old,
Jeez, was that Cielito Lindo? Or was
Cielito
that
Lindo, yeah.
When you were 26?
I was 26. I was just about to turn 27, yeah.
So you were already working as a professional musician. You had you went to school and started working on arranging and composing. And then you're a business owner.
Yeah.
At 26.
Yeah. I have a very, very blessed life. I mean, I closed Cielito Lindo about, like 5 years ago now when COVID hit. After 34 years of having that restaurant, and I came up, with some health issues, and knock on wood, right now I'm in remission, right? So,
good for you.
So, yeah, I've been touring, and it was very difficult. I got like double pneumonia because of COVID after, besides the cancer treatment. So I still continued, for some reason the doctor goes, you know what? Thank God that you're a trumpet player. That saved you. Your lungs are strong, Jose.
Wow.
You survived. You survived it. It was crazy. They told him, he's not going to make it. We give him about 100% oxygen. And they go, you're lucky you're a trumpet player.
You had the strength. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Oh
it's great.
man, what a blessing. So I want to go back to your inspiration for your arranging and composing, because I know, mariachi is so steeped
Uh-huh.
in tradition,
Uh-huh.
and you're kind of known to be one of the first to start bringing in other musical styles.
Mhm.
What were your inspirations that you brought into
Well,
mariachi?
in the 60s, there was a big revolution with mariachi. I think in the 50s, there was some revolution. And then in the 60s, there was a lot of revolution as far as playing North American hits and adapting them to mariachi and stuff like that. That was going on in the 60s. So I was exposed to that a lot.
Okay, so
And
you
mind
heard
you,
that
my
sort of
older
thing.
brothers played in the top group where they were playing with Vargas, right? They were doing a lot of the recordings from Mexico City. But when I studied with Dick Grove, I was exposed obviously to jazz arranging and all that stuff. And it was commercial, right? So I could also write for big band, for marching band, for you name it. It was in every style, country, pop ballads, in every style. But my string writing was different than the traditional guys, and I was able to, I mean, playing in the jazz band in high school, I knew very naturally how to swing, right? So
Mhm.
I would do a tribute to Glenn Miller that other mariachis wouldn't do, right? And I would teach my rhythm section how to swing. They always wanted to play it almost like a polka. I go, no, not a polka.
Boom chick, boom chick, boom chick, boom chick.
That kind of thing. I go, no, no. So I'm going, we would play and then but the group became very well known doing that. I started singing New York, New York.
Hmm.
They go, what's wrong with these young guys? Wow, they're doing. But the traditional guys, the older guys, they hated it. They hated me doing that. But studying music gave me the tools to be able to arrange and do whatever I wanted with the mariachi
Hmm.
ensemble. And I started orchestrating for the, orchestra and mariachi and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you said kind of your first big break was Juan Gabriel. Heard
Yeah,
you
yeah,
recorded with
commercially,
him.
yeah, it was Juan Gabriel. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
came
then
down. I think I did about 30 arrangements for him. He was producing for other artists and one album for him.
mhm.
That was in '82. The records came up mostly in '83 and '84.
Yeah, and then it was a string of other artists, right? You, Linda
Oh man, my
Ronstadt
gosh,
and
yeah. After Juan, I think I had those 3 years after I recorded with him, and then I bought my restaurant in '86. So I got a call in 1987 by Rubén Fuentes, who was the owner of Mariachi Vargas, who was going to co-produce with Peter Asher Canciones de Mi Padre with Linda Ronstadt, and he had called me, and he goes, "Mijo," he would call me Mijo. Hey, he goes, "Hey son," he goes, "You think you could help me with this project? You know all the musicians in LA, the better ones, and I really need to put something together. We want 4 mariachis to be represented, 4 of the top groups in the world, and your group is one of them." And I was like, "Wow, okay." After 3 years, I'm one of the top groups. Okay, I'll take it.
take
And then
it.
Ruben Fuentes, he's like a legend, right? So yeah, I ended up sort of choosing the musicians that were going to record for Canciones de Mi Padre, and he gave me the green light to do that. And that's when I got back into recording again.
Hmm.
I had done a couple of albums for Sol, just for our group, but not for other artists. And after that record, Canciones de Mi Padre, that was a huge explosion in the regional Mexican music. I think this the all-time #1 seller in albums
Hmm.
uh, in history, right? So after that, they started calling me from all over the place. So Jose Feliciano, Vicky Carr, and all these great Mexican artists also, besides that. Just a whole bunch of stuff like that. Once in a while, I still do some productions like that.
But was it like the 80s, 90s?
80s,
Just a run
90s.
of
Yeah, I think in 1994, because I was producing, for all these major labels, Sony and from Ariola, which was RCA, BMG, and then EMI Latin called me from Capitol Records, the Capitol building right there. They were your neighbors, right? At that time.
Mhm.
They called me and to produce an album. And the president asked me, "Hey, do you guys have a label?" I go, "No, no." "How many albums do you have?" I go, "Well, I own the masters of, I think I have 4 of them so far." He goes, "Well, why don't we do a wide release of your 4 albums and you record one more? We'll do a 5 album deal with you, blah, blah, blah." So yeah, our first album came out with the other 4 that started selling internationally. And then I did 4 more albums for them,
Man.
which was,
And
that sort of launched us as Sol de Mexico even more. Yeah.
yeah. Were you guys touring at all before that, or just mainly playing at the
On and off, we
restaurant?
would do one casino here, one casino there. Mariachi Vargas was touring with Linda Ronstadt, I think, for the first 2 years. Then Los Camperos from La Fonda, they started touring with her. I was so dumb because I was her vocal coach through that first album, and she wanted me to be with her when Vargas couldn't make it. And I go, it's going to be so hard for you to come from Brentwood all the way to South El Monte to rehearse with us. I go, why don't you go to La Fonda? It's in Nati's area. He was part of the album. I gave Nati that whole tour. I mean, that without even knowing, But by
Made the
that
connection.
By that time, I was still trying to establish my restaurant, which was becoming very popular.
Mm-hmm.
And I started teaching at mariachi music at Cerritos College in 1988.
Wow. So it would have been difficult to pick up and do a world tour.
I couldn't leave my restaurant. Imagine.
So you were her vocal coach for that album?
Yeah, I was the one that made sure that her Spanish was close to impeccable.
Uh-huh.
And we became very, very close. She trusted me a lot with doing all the vocal comps at the end, and hearing 3 different versions of the same song. And this phrase is better, Linda. This, you have more of a natural feel of this. Yeah. So between her, Sean Murphy, who is John Williams' engineer, and myself, we were the ones that are doing all the vocal comping.
I mean, a timeless album. We still play it almost every week here at the shop. And if for our listeners, if you haven't heard it, you have to check out.
It was really cool, because Rubén Fuentes was conducting and directing that album, and so there were some songs where we had 6 trumpet players, right? Because he wanted that combination, and we were all waiting, like, okay, where does he want to sit us? And he would say, Jose, get in the first chair, and then so. I'm like the youngest of all of them, but it was pretty cool, because I got to play first trumpet on that whole album. And I also played vihuela because we were laying down the rhythm tracks, and my brother Jesus played guitar, myself vihuela. I think we played 5 of the 10 songs. We were the rhythm section of that album.
Jeez,
Yeah.
So all over that album. Were any of your other brothers playing in the trumpet section, or were they?
My brother Pedro, the owner of the restaurant, he was known more as a singer, even though he played trumpet very well. But like I said, I had produced an album for him as a singer. He ended up singing, I think, 2 or 3 songs with her in duets on that album. So I think him, and then my brother Jesus played guitar with me and myself. We were the only 3 from my family that played in that album. And our musicians from our group also played it. Yeah.
And so you'd mentioned, though, they wanted like the 4 big mariachis to be involved in that?
Yeah. So I think I picked 3 from Los Camperos, but who ended up recording the most was Nati. He played violin. Because he used to play with my dad when he was younger, they helped it, right?
Have that connection.
He played violin, and my brother Pedro sang, and some of his musicians played. I think Juan Gudiño, who is he's married to my aunt, and he used to play with Mariachi Nuevo Tocaritlán in Guadalajara. He played trumpet, and also Federico, who was with Mariachi Vargas for many years. Federico played there. Luis Salinas, who was, I think he was one of Los Camperos at that time. He played a little trumpet there on some of when we had the big section on some of the pieces, right?
That must have been fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun, man. And,
getting all those legends together, and
then we were right there in Santa Monica at the complex during that time that studio with George Massenberg, who was the owner of that studio. It was pretty amazing,
So you do that, you get your record deal. So is this when you guys started doing more extensive touring, like international stuff?
Well, yeah, we started doing that, I think towards 1997 or something like that. We would go back east and play something like that. Then we started going to Mexico for the first time. Mind you, it was the first time after 50 years that my family had left Guadalajara. Jeez. So it's the first time that a family group goes back. And once we went back, and they all had heard our records, right? So we were like, it was like the new sound in a way. It was like the turning of a page of a new era of mariachi arranging and just a new sound. And we were very tentative of having to hear us, because we would hear stories. If you guys played Glenn Miller over there, they're going to lynch you guys. Stuff like that. But it was
seriously.
It was all fake. That was all, they were fake stories, right? Yeah. Because the top mariachis in Mexico didn't want the people over there to hear us, right? Because it was like we were their competition. Oh man, when we went to Guadalajara for the first time, man, all the young guys, all the young musicians, they were boom. And I would always give a free masterclass. because nobody ever did it. And I go, well, I'm gonna share stuff like that into a masterclass with kids. And well, now one of those kids, we was 15. Carlitos, I remember giving him the Adler orchestration book when he went, and he always had a collection of our CDs. He's now the director, my musical director of Mariachi Vargas. Is that
there
crazy?
You go. So you started him at 15, handing him the book.
A whole new generation of musicians, and these musicians are Mariachi Vargas and other top groups. They grew up with my music, with Sol's music, and it's really cool, to see that there's that respect, and it's a mutual respect, that we all work together. It's not, no, during the 90s, the older guys from the past year, they were very territorial, man. They felt threatened. It was really, really hard. And I was the one sort of like, in a way, breaking ground, pushing the envelope. So I was the one that was taking all the hits, Oh, now José Hernández is the Antichrist of mariachi.
God forbid you play Glenn Miller and, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you were getting in front of people, and you were backing huge artists and playing in Carnegie Hall and all over the place. And
we started, I think, in 1991. I started my foundation because my business was doing so good. We did Canciones de Mi Padre, and I was producing a lot. And we were doing a show, I think it was 1989 or 1990, in San Diego with Vicky Carr and Lola Beltrán, a huge singer, and Los Camperos Sol de Mexico. And also I put together like a 50-piece orchestra to back up Lola Beltrán. So that's when Vicky wanted to talk to me, Vicky Carr, and also Rodri, who's a producer of what we know as the Medici USA. And they asked if I could be the music director for this event they want to do at the Hollywood Bowl. And I go, well, I'd love to do it, So that we started the Hollywood Bowl, I think 1990 or 1991. And from there, then I started a festival in Albuquerque, the Mariachi Spectacular, in 1991. Also, and then 1992 or 1991, also, I started the Las Vegas International Mariachi Festival. But I would call Vargas, call Rubén Fuentes, and hey, you guys want to be part of this? Oh yeah, sure.
It's incredible making your own demand, making your own work, and bringing the music.
Well, because the other groups were already touring with Linda, right? I had to find my own way. We were doing some casinos alone already. We were doing some performing arts centers alone. That gave me the opportunity. Plus, having the restaurant, to make my group even better. But throughout, I think all of our albums, since the 1981 album, I think you could hear the consistency of the sound and the style of the group, right? Because obviously we've had the same director for 44 years now, right? 45 years. And I think we're one of the longest consistently sounding groups in the genre, because it's always been, under my writing,
Yeah, your writing and the sound, your thumbprint. So at what point did you start doing like collaborations with symphonies and kind of like the idea you had when you were young?
The first time was when I went back to my brother's restaurant. I think after I went to La Fonda with Los Camperos, I came back and I produced a record with my brother, who was the owner of the restaurant, the family restaurant. He was the main owner, and they called us because they wanted to honor this film composer in Mexico, who also wrote a lot of beautiful songs. Him and his lyricist. His name was Manuel Esperón. He wrote the one that they use for the Three Caballeros, the cartoon. We're three caballeros. That's like Jalisco No Te Rajes, that song. Very popular, right? And he wrote a whole bunch of beautiful songs that were recorded in the golden era of cinema in Mexico in the 40s and 50s. And they wanted to honor him here in LA. So they told us, my brother's group, Los Galleros, that they were going to send his music and, can I get an orchestra together? I go, oh, sure, great. And then they finally tell me, oh, you know what? He says that he doesn't have that music in hand, that a lot of that stuff got lost and misplaced and whatever through the years, right? Can you do something? Can you write something? And I go, man, I think it was like about a 50-piece orchestra. And a lot of the artists, the sons of the great artists that he produced and the daughters, they were going to sing. So here I got my chance to start writing for the orchestra for a live TV show. And I did that in 1983. And it sort of stayed like that. And I didn't start doing stuff with the orchestra until we did something with the LA Phil. I think we did like a children's concert And we did about 3 songs with them in 1991. 1992. And then things started coming together. They called me with the Sacramento Symphony, the New Mexico Symphony Orchestra, the San Diego Symphony. Start doing different orchestras. And then obviously, the Musicians Union wanted us to join the union, and I said no.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about the LA Musicians Union. I mean, were there difficulties like combining the styles of like the classically trained musicians that are used to reading things like similar you're talking about when you were in the section with Malcolm and Charlie, and then bringing in the mariachi on top of that, or was that?
It was tricky because I was so used to writing for mariachi musicians, right? And playing syncopated stuff is very easy for us. Expecting classical string players to play what mariachis play, that it's very difficult. Even though they have to read it, I would assume probably a good session violin player, a Hollywood player, they probably might do it. But now I learned to write it more like a double string orchestra, where the orchestra's playing their things that they feel comfortable with, and the mariachi does. And then they come together when they're playing things that they could both handle. The trumpet players, they play on mostly accents and big parts. And sometimes if we play like an open part, I'll have them with straight mutes playing with us. It's just to give it a texture. But yeah, I had to learn my lesson. I think the first time I had to do something like I think it was a Christmas show with the San Francisco Symphony. And I learned a lot. I learned what's really going to work very, very well and this and that. And it got to the point where I feel pretty comfortable now writing for the orchestra. I wrote a couple of jarabes, just some pieces, symphonic pieces that are based in Mexican traditional music. At the Seattle Symphony premiered for me, and also in Jalapa in Veracruz, the symphony there. We just did something in October with the University of Guadalajara with their symphony orchestra.
Oh.
Which was pretty cool, too.
Wonderful. These are all original works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Original works. Cool. I wrote a Rhapsody about 6 years ago that we premiered in Guadalajara with about 180 mariachi musicians. And then people really liked it a lot. Really liked it a lot. So I go, I'm going to orchestrate this. And I orchestrated it. And I go, I got to do something. Because they had already told me that I had this bone cancer, right? So I go, okay, I better do what I have in my bucket list, right? So I ended up, calling some friends that are in film. They're film composers. I go, hey, what orchestras do you guys record to? Oh, well, we record in Budapest, sometimes with the London Symphony or whatever, the Royal Philharmonic, or sometimes we do Prague Symphony. Oh, Prague, that sounds interesting. I go, how much does it cost, to record with those guys? Well, first, they got to see your score. And okay, I'm going to send you an orchestral score. So I sent them the orchestral score. It's called Rapsodia para un Mariachi. Rhapsody for mariachi. And we had recorded it already, just with the mariachi. And it's pretty cool. So that's on YouTube. You could hear it.
Oh, awesome.
And then they were like, wow, this is really cool. So I ended up taking my conductor. We went to Prague and we recorded with the symphony. And so there's a version also with the symphony orchestra.
What fun. What a beautiful city too. What a great place.
Yeah. So we recorded it. That was something that was pretty cool, to do.
Yeah. So through all this, the writing, the composing, the running a restaurant, you're also playing trumpet, and you're featured a lot of times. Like, what did you have like a regular routine that you would do to keep your chops up, or were you just playing so much?
Back to the warm up exercises that Dave Evans gave me, and the Luke Clark technical studies. What really helped me? When was it? I'm going to say about 2 years ago, we were going to play with a TCU Symphony Orchestra in Texas. My daughter graduated from there as a music educator and a violinist. So they invited us to play, and Pacho Flores, Pacho Flores was a guest artist, and Pacho and I had been messaging each other. He would tell me, I grew up in Venezuela playing mariachi, and we played a lot of your music, maestro, and blah, 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 this and that. I go, oh, cool, gracias, Pacho. So I finally met him in person. I met him when they did a concert, and I went to go see my daughter play violin in the symphony 3 years ago. And then the next year, they decided to hire Sol to go play, and Pacho was going to be part of it. I went for a teeth cleaning, and they used some kind of infrared light or something. and it gave me like about 4 cold sores right here.
Oh no!
I was so pissed off because my wife, why don't you go get a teeth cleaning? I go, I don't want to right now because I got to do a concert. Blah blah blah. It'll be fast. It's this new place, and then that happens. I was so upset, man. And they were playing some of my songs, right? So I couldn't play above just a C, in the staff. Like I did, my lip wouldn't buzz, because it was so swollen.
So swollen and painful.
So when I got over there, I told Pacho, I go, you know what? I'm sorry. There's certain things I can't play. Can you play this part for me? He goes, yeah. I go, write it out for me. So I wrote out some parts, for him. Mm-hmm. And I played third trumpet, with my guys. And he goes, Maestro, here, why don't you use this? This might help loosen up your lip a little bit. It was that up sound. Is that what it is?
Yeah. The Stomvy. Yeah.
Yeah. Up sound. I go, oh, yeah. And so I used it and it loosened up my lip. Okay, loosened. Not completely, but it loosened it up. I'm going to say another 30%. Enough. So I was able to get by on the. It was crazy. So ever since then, I warm up a little bit with that up sound. Mm-hmm. And it really helps me. It really, really does help me.
Yeah, well, what a saver! But so there's a lesson: don't get your teeth cleaned right before a major gig. So I mean, it's incredible that you did so much stuff and you managed to keep the trumpet up. I mean, did you have other than your brothers, any other inspirations for?
Oh my God! Growing up and hearing Doc Severinsen and hearing Herb Albert, the way he played it, the way he expressed himself, hearing Al Hurd, mm-hmm. And then in high school, Maynard. Hearing Maynard and hearing Bill Chase and these guys, like, whoa! I was exposed to a wide array of players. Mm-hmm. I love the way Harry James played. There's a trumpet player that used to play with the orchestra, the big band of the Luis Alcaraz in Mexico. Mm-hmm. His name was Vicente Flores. Amazing trumpet player, like a stylist, Mm-hmm. He had a lot of influence. Plus the great mariachi trumpet players that I grew up, besides my brothers, but Miguel Martinez, who was like the father of the mariachi style, and Cipriano Silva, these guys. Mm-hmm. It's a wide array of the different players. That's why, I recorded this last album that we did called La Voz de Mi Trompeta, the voice of my trumpet. It was the only trumpet solo album I've ever recorded. So I've never considered myself a soloist, play whatever. So I finally recorded sort of all the influences that I've had musically. I put it on this one album. So yes, I record Strangers in the Night, Misty, plus I wrote like about four or 5 new pieces that have like a jazz influence to it. So it's got some cool like 7/4 stuff with mariachi. It's pretty cool. It's a cool album. And Pacho was telling me, he goes, man, that album, I keep on playing it and playing it and playing it. I go, oh, thank you. That's coming from you. It means a lot. You go, no, really. I just, your way of expressing is like if you're singing, I go, well, yeah, when I play, I feel like, how would I sing them? How would I sing these things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, incredible album. We've been listening to that one as well. We'll make sure we have links to all these so folks can find them. It's great you have so much of that music out there. I want to talk a little bit how mariachi has changed. I mean, you had mentioned earlier that traditionally it was just passed down by ear. I mean, and you do a lot in music education now. Has that changed? Is that like you have charts now?
From father to son, it used to be passed down.
Yeah,
hardly ever to women.
Mm-hmm.
It was a male dominated genre. I started teaching for the first time, and it was by ear. I didn't take music, but it was by ear. I think it was Cal Poly in Pomona. Mm-hmm. It was a night class in 1981. Just the musicians some of them from the orchestra that wanted to know a little bit about mariachi, and I used to teach a little bit of every instrument, right, of the mariachi ensemble. And then I got so busy writing and producing. And then in 1988, 2 years after I opened my restaurant, and we were recording with Linda Ronstadt, I started teaching a night class, I think 2 days a week or one night a week in Cerritos College. And then I started writing out some stuff. And we didn't know how to pass down, the rhythms, because there was no form of writing it, mm-hmm. or the bowings. So I figured, the rhythms, I'm going to write them like an up and down bow. Like I can remember the rhythms that I make up, because I would come up with new rhythms and new patterns, right? And little by little, things began to be written out, and we started teaching. In 1991, I started my foundation, called the Mariachi Heritage Society because I wanted to give something back to my community. And I started raising money every year doing a concert, all to benefit kids. So we taught at a school on Indiana Street in East LA called the LA Music and Art School.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a mariachi classes 2 days a week there. So parents would bring kids, to study for $2 a class or something like that.
Wow.
We made it very affordable for them to learn. So I still have my foundation. We're involved in 28 schools in LA County and Orange County. And I have teachers in all the schools. A lot of my guys teach in those schools during the week. And we haven't done one of those concerts in 15 years to raise money. But right now, we want to start doing one concert a year again. We're going back to the San Gabriel Mission Playhouse to do the concert where we used to do all those 20 concerts.
Oh,
I remember
cool.
one year I invited Arturo Sandoval to come, hey, you want to play with mariachi? We'll do instrumentals with you. And he goes, I sing too. Okay, you can sing a song too. So Arturo,
that's how you get Arturo to show up. Let him know tell him he can sing or play piano. I love it.
We were both with William Morris.
Mm-hmm.
So the one year they asked me, hey, you think you could accompany Arturo Sandoval? I go, yeah, well, why not? So we did a mariachi festival with him in Phoenix. It was pretty cool.
That's amazing. And it's cool. Like, so we do events in Texas a lot, and it's amazing to see, especially in the last maybe 20 years or so, how many public schools now have mariachi programs.
Yeah.
You said you have your 28 schools you're at here in LA and Orange County. And,
and in Texas, I helped them over there in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I started going to La Jolla High School over there, I think in 1995, because some of them would go to Albuquerque to the festivals to study with us, right? So then they went, hey, you think you could come down to Texas? Yeah. Then I started going to now it's called the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, which is called Pan Am University in Edinburgh, Texas. So, a lot of that, the sound of the mariachis in the Valley I think a lot of my influence is stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
And also the young trumpet players. They sort of speak with the articulations that we play with,
Yeah. It's I've noticed, like, especially like the mariachis around LA and in certain parts of Texas, they're playing like 42S's, Reeves 42S, 42M. Whereas, some of the others are using like a darker sound, like 3C, like a darker, less, I don't want to say commercial sound, but I think that's kind of what it is, not as bright, but they're also
a lot of them, because they're also in orchestra. If they're in college, they're also in orchestra, so they're band teachers. And well,
well, yeah, the Texas, yeah. Here's a 3C and a Bach 37, right?
Yeah, they have to go through that, but I play on mine is a 42, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys keep that information from the trumpet.
Oh yeah, I think we have you and your brothers all on file.
Yeah, I think it's a 42. Maybe you could text me what exactly it was. I think it's a 42 because they made a copy of it. I think it was canceled it.
Mm-hmm.
They made a copy of my Mouthpiece. And I think West Music, because they wanted to mass produce my mouthpieces.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I don't want to sell something that's not me, So they sort of made a copy of it. And a lot of players started buying it, or just to have one. Oh, they have my name on it and stuff like that.
It's like Michael Jordan.
So I still had the one that Bob made me when I was a ninth grader or something, or somewhere in high school. And then I remember my brother, he sold a trumpet. It was a Paris Selmer trumpet. Mm-hmm. So the entrance of the mouthpiece was always loose. So he made like a sleeve for my mouthpiece, right? And I had it, and I would play it, and then they made the copy, but I still played the original one, right? And then it disappeared. I don't know what I don't know, even this gig, some kid probably went and got it and took it. It disappeared. I had that mouth, and and it screwed off. And I was so pissed,
Well, I know where to get another one. We'll have to get you another one.
Oh man, that's why I'm asking you. Whether you have
it doesn't have the memories of the first one, but
so then I hear they stopped producing that mouthpiece with West Music was selling it, and I helped design that horn, for Bach Stradivarius, the 43B, and it really exceeded like 10 times more. They tell me, actually, we're here in NAM. They were telling me, well, we thought we were going to sell a certain amount, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. But man, that thing still sells all over the world. That trumpet still sells all over the world. Yeah. Some classical players have it, but they have it without the design on the trumpet. Very classical. But I went and I tried out all these horns. Like, what do we combine this, combine that? And we came up with that trumpet. And I'm very, very happy with that trumpet. But the mouthpiece stopped getting produced. So then this guy from Legends Brass,
Mm-hmm.
somebody sent me like a link. He goes, hey, this guy's selling your mouthpiece. I go, what? I go, I know nothing about that. So I got a hold of that guy. I go, excuse me. I go, you're using my name here, but you're doing. I go, if you want to use my name, why don't you call me? Just call me. I go, nobody's producing my mouthpiece. I'd be more than glad to.
Yeah.
So he made he sells sort of a copy of my mouthpiece. I think he put his own little thing to it, in the backboard and something like that. But
Yeah.
But the actual mouthpiece itself, I think I still play on. Right now I'm playing on the one that's a complete copy of what I used to play with you, Red.
Of the old Reeves 42. I think it's an S. It's a version of the S cup. I'll have to look it up again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of history there. It's amazing.
And Bob's always been, great with us. If we needed to try this, try that, he's always been very, very flexible. Very good friends with my brother Tonio.
Oh, yeah.
Tonio used to go just to hang out sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, Bob Bob had tons of stories, him and Chencho and Jose Arteaga has been with the shop since 87. He talks about you guys coming in and, yeah, very fondly. I think, Bob really loved to hear a song, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing, like mariachis always have a song.
Uh-huh.
Whatever they're playing, because that's all, that's what you guys do. Like, it's all music. Even if it can be technical, there's still phrasing and rhythm.
Yeah, it's a very cantable kind of thing. I was we did this it was a conference of band directors throughout the whole country, something that Consalmer was helping to sponsor. So they wanted to take Sol, my mariachi, to do a performance for all the band directors. And then between all the band directors, they would form a huge wind ensemble, like a 200-piece wind ensemble. And they wanted to do a few pieces with us. So I sent them my orchestral scores, and they did their reorchestration of some of that stuff. But also, Doc Severinsen was going to be there as a guest. And I'm like, oh my God, this is he's like my idol. I grew up with this guy, right? So I think he had a stroke or something like that, so his mechanics aren't there. But we ended up playing together in Concierto de Aranjuez together, which was really cool.
What an honor. How cool.
He goes, you know what, Jose? He goes, now I know why you guys sound so beautiful when you play your trumpet. You're actually singing with your trumpet. I go, you know what? Actually, yes. I go, when we play, even the stuff that we play, we're thinking of the lyrics. So the way that we would say the spacing of the lyrics, that's the way we would play the spacing of the notes. It's a very particular way of interpretation,
So it is literal phrasing, like it's the phrasing of the lyrics translated and transposed over to the instrument. And you've worked with a lot of young mariachis up and coming. What are some common either mistakes or tips that you could give for someone who's, working their way up in the mariachi world, especially with the trumpet players?
I think knowing their craft, first of all, they have to have a good foundation of knowing, the mechanics of how it works, what creates sound, and having a good routine that they feel very comfortable with. And not changing mouthpiece, the rims all the time. People, there's a lot of them that do that, and then they mess up their embouchure. Hearing the great trumpet players and trying to emulate as much as you can, and then you come into your own. That's the way I started. I started hearing my favorite players, and sometimes I would say, so and so would play it like this, and so would play it like this, and then it comes to the point where you begin to interpret in your own way, in your own voice, the mariachi trumpet style. Because it's like hearing a singer and then hearing another singer singing that same song, and you say, wow, they both sing it great, but in their own way. Well, mariachi is very much like that,
Great advice. And what about the business side of things? Do you form your own group, or do you start looking for groups? How do you start?
I think trying to get yourself in a group that has good musical direction, and getting a good sense of playing in a good ensemble. And then from there, so now it's so difficult, right? Because sometimes the leader of these groups is the worst musician sometimes, but he has the best business savvy, than the other guy. But yeah, if you want to win the respect of the musicians that work with you, it's good for you to know about arranging and about writing and about obviously the business side of it, you got to pay your musicians well, keep them working, and it's never going to be perfect. There will always be changes, in your group. But, like I said, I've been one of the fortunate ones because I like to develop talent sometimes. I go, okay, this kid looks good on stage. He has potential singing, and he has good potential as a player or a violinist. It doesn't matter what instrument. But a lot of them come in. My group is young, right? But I develop them, and they grow as musicians with my group.
That's so cool that you're doing that. Bringing the music to the next generation, and
I love doing that. We're always involved in that. We're always teaching. I mean, I help start programs in 37 states, through curriculum and stuff like that with a great friend of mine. Her name's Marcia Neal, who introduced me to Consalmer, who introduced me to Hal Leonard, who I write once in a while, I'll write some arrangements for them, and, all these people that are involved in the music business.
Keep it going. I don't know how you find the time. Or you make the time. I guess that's how you do it.
Oh, yeah, music is great to us. I know that I think a couple of my musicians went, over there. I think Carlos went.
Yeah. We've had a number from, and who's your,
Yamila went.
Yamila, who just moved out here for Reyna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she sounds great.
Yeah. They love, the genre and stuff like that. And it's a huge learning experience from them because they're coming from Texas, and they're learning mariachi, written out. They haven't explored, the listening and knowing their intervals, how they sound, and memorizing fast. They have to. Carlos is like a machine. He learns craft. Yamila is struggling a little bit more, but I could tell, even though she probably doesn't tell, but I could tell that she's learning a little bit faster. So, it's just having the patience and to develop these young musicians,
and then throw them in the band.
They throw them in the band.
Just like you did how many years ago for the first time.
Yeah.
And now your current restaurant is Casa del Sol, right?
Yes,
down in Tustin.
You got to make it down there, John. I don't know if you.
I am going to come down. I'm going to make it. I'll let you know when I'm down there.
Yeah, you got to come down for weekend, mostly Saturdays. Yeah, because we play a lot of the cool repertory when I'm there.
Okay,
and stuff like that. So
I'm going to bring the family down. I'll let you know.
Yeah, please.
When we'll make it, and certainly for our listeners, if you're in and around Southern California,
and I got to go down to the shop. I got to go down there. I don't think I visited your shop. Maybe once.
Kind of in the early days.
But yeah, I definitely have to go down.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Any other upcoming projects you have? Anything in the pipeline? Or
oh my God! Well, right now we're preparing for this. We're doing a tour up in Redwood City, in California. We're doing February 13th. It's going to be like a Valentine's Day weekend concerts. We're doing the February 13th, Redwood City. Then we're coming down to Anaheim to do the Grand Theater, right there next to Disneyland, on the 14th. And then we go back up to Pittsburgh, California, north again, to do the 15th, and then after that, we have to prepare for all these other concerts that we're doing, both with Reyna and with Sol, because the all-female group also has been taking off a lot. They're like icons. They're the first group formed, the all-female group formed, so yeah,
groundbreaking.
They really look up to the girls, all over the country.
It's so cool. Yeah, so you mentioned, since it was so male dominated, it's great to have that inspiration.
And then they got nominated for their last album, for the Latin Grammys, which is pretty cool. I got to see them to Vegas, and they did that whole red carpet thing, and so it's pretty cool.
Amazing. So cool. We could talk all day. You have so many projects, but I think we got some trumpet talk in there enough. In there, a little bit of equipment talk too, and some Clarks. So Mariachi Sol de Mexico is the website, right? Any other place, folks?
I think it's soldemexicomusic.com.
Sol de Mexico Music. Okay, and we'll have all the links to that.
Exactly.
And I also, you're on Instagram too. I love.
Mariachi Sol de Mexico de José Hernández, and also. On Facebook, Mariachi Sol de México de José Hernández. And I think mine is Maestro Sol. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I love seeing your content on there. There was a great one over the holidays where I guess the family tradition of singing a song and you getting everyone to sing in tune. I
totally forget, because they want me to write something, right? So we've been doing it for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
They tell me like 3 days before, right? And I go, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, I got to do it for my kids. So by the time we're practicing, I'm pissed off already. I don't want to do it.
Just get it done.
And yeah, it's challenging for them because, they're doing 5-part harmony isn't the easiest thing.
It
And
was hysterical, but
they're
amazing.
fat. But the faces that they make, yeah.
I mean, that's worth a follow to all of our listeners just for that. But yeah, I love seeing what you're up to.
Well,
Absolutely great conversation. But before I let you go, Jose, if I could leave you with one last question, and this is open ended, it's because you do so many things from the business side to the trumpet side. If you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice that you would consider your best piece of advice, what would that be?
oh my gosh, have peace of mind. Peace of mind because take care of yourself, your health, and always be surrounded with people that love you. Because you could do and go any place in the world and be into this, be into that material stuff. Push comes to shove. When you really need the support, it's always people that surround you, the people that truly love you, that they stick by you in good times and bad times. Always take care of that. The rest falls into place.
Absolutely great advice. And as I said, an honor having you on. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Jose.
Thank you, John. You take care.
Well, I was so looking forward to this interview with Jose. A huge shout out to him and all of his folks at the restaurant and in his organization. I mean, you get a sense by how many projects he's juggling at one time. Restaurant owner, trumpet player, running 2-3 different mariachi programs. His schools, you mentioned he's got people in 20, almost 30 schools across LA and Orange County. And to take the time to talk with us. And he said, talk as long as you want. My day is all yours. Oh, and by the way, he's also in remission, after his bout with cancer, which again, Jose, we wish you good health. And man, with your energy and spirit, I know he's going to beat that thing and be in full remission. And, hopefully as soon as possible. But there's absolutely no stopping Jose. So much great information, both about the history of mariachi, the players, but also bringing in those outside influences and bringing that folk music and heritage to new generations and to new audiences. So bravo for all of that. And it's been our honor. And I know Bob Reeves was a huge fan of Jose and his brothers, the whole family, as we had alluded to a few times. I've got a lot of great stories about Jose and his brothers coming into the shop and hanging out. And also Bob and Jose here going down to Cielito Lindo, to the restaurant and hearing the groups. So for more information on Jose, we'll have the links to his websites and the Mariachi del Sol and Mariachi Reyna websites. Hopefully you can see them in town nearby. Definitely worthwhile. My wife and I just went and heard them at the restaurant this weekend. And so if you are in and around Tustin, go by their restaurant and get a great food and a great show. That's all we have for today. We have a lot of great guests lined up. Hit that 5-star review button, hit that thumbs up, leave us a comment on YouTube, feed the algorithm monster that helps us be more visible to the brass playing community. You never know. There might be another Bob or someone else who's, struggling with focal dystonia or trumpet or just needs some inspiration. And the more people we can help, the better. Make the world a better place. So with that being said, go practice and let's go out and make some music.